Good morning, everyone. Welcome to ChartRoom. Everything in today's video is never financial investment or trading advice of any kind. Everything's just for entertainment, educational, and comedic purposes only. I eat red crayons for breakfast. Trading the markets carries substantial risk. Never trade more than you can afford to lose. And especially be aware against high leverage trading. Past performance is never indicative of future performance. How's everybody feeling today? Okay. If you have a request, you guys can put it in the chat. I hope you enjoyed that WordRoom message. Let's look at USDT.D. We did an in-depth analysis on this on Saturday. Look at our previous ChartRoom episode from Saturday. The date was, today is March 24th, so it would be March 22nd. Looks like we are pressing up against the watch line on USDT.D. Since we're going to be here, let's see if we can collect all these points and just make it sure it's nice and good. Checking the wick match. It's going to be about right here. If I'm going to adjust this very uniquely, from here's the wick. Here's the wick on this big candles before the last big up move. It's up here. So we're pressing up against it right now. That's basically where we are at. That's the number that we gave you guys on Saturday, and we're just right here. This is the bottom, 5.9. I did not change this number. That's the bottom of this oscillation. Let's take a look closer at that oscillation. That's why I really love our maps. We can catch a lot of numbers per day just moving our resistances up along the track. We're very close to our 5.65 number back here. 5.9. We're very close to these angles very accurately, months in advance. Knowing where the larger energy centers are help catch most of the bigger stuff. They let us know where we're looking for tops and bottoms. This is a type of top. Is it the top? Is it that? I don't know, but we at least stack the odds in our favor by knowing where these tops and bottoms are in advance. Okay, so I hope that if you want the in-depth look, watch Saturday's video, USDT.D. Now we have a very interesting thing. Today's volume is going to be a little bit important as we go through this. So let's go to, that's already a daily chart. Okay, good. Let's go to that 12-hour chart, and I'm going to show you something in the volume we're going to be looking for. Okay. Now, if their volume is going to be higher, the candle's already closed for this 12-hour. If the volume is higher in this 12-hour chart compared to this area, preferably at the end of the day on the daily chart, is probably where I'm going to be looking as we possibly bounce out of this area. But if the volume is higher than this bar on the down bar, we're going to know that there's too much incentive for a down market. There's still a lot of trading at this if the volume's higher. I haven't looked. We're going to. I'm just letting you know what we're going to look for in advance. It's going to look something like this. Now, generally, we want to do this at the end of the day, but I'm using a 12-hour chart just to teach you what it's going to look like. We're going to look at the volume on this bar right there and this bar right there. They're at the same area. Okay, we can also group this one if you want to. But if the volume is increased or equal or relatively high on its own average, when you see the white line or your average line, either of those scenarios would say to me there's still a lot of market in this section. Therefore, the odds are more likely that price will phase through onto the side of weakness by having an incentive to stay there. If there's no volume or very little volume, look for us to come to something like this and come back up. But if there's a strong volume as they're testing it on the down move, look for us to come down here, and therefore we're going to phase onto this side, which is the side of weakness. That increase in volume is going to be a big clue. If we don't see it, we're going to be looking for this to come back up. Now, why is this important? If you're new to our community, USDT.D lets us know primarily where the market's going to go. This is how I knew a few weeks ago that we were going to be playing on the higher side, and I told everybody for the next 2 weeks. That's when my friend called me and said, "Hey, should I buy some cryptocurrency? What do I buy right now?" I said, "Just wait," is what I said. And when this goes up, your cryptos go down. And when this goes down, primarily your cryptos have a chance to go up. Okay, that's how that works. So we want this to go down if you're bullish, and if you're bearish, you want this to go up. This is a higher precursor or chance to break out of the current oscillation, which is price playing in this area. Okay, that's price oscillating back and forth in that area. If it's going to do anything new, it's going to be now. It's going to be in these days. It's going to tell us a lot about what's going to happen. We're going to either break through this and phase and continue playing here, rejecting on the underside of this line, and it will look something like this. Or we're going to break down into the next weakness area, and it's going to be here, underneath this, right there, 5.9. If you start seeing this break below and build above 5.9, then you're looking to come down to there, and there's going to be, that would be bullish for the market. That would be bullish. This move would be slightly bearish. And if you break above here and we start going, then we're probably going to have incentive to keep playing here. But this volume at these same exact levels, or this smaller VZB, is going to be is a big clue about what's more likely to happen. And you're not guaranteed anything in the market. So with that said, let's look at the volume. Using the micro view, we can see and compare the volume at those areas. It's this. So what is the volume doing?
Decreasing.
Decreasing. Now that means there's not a huge incentive to bring it down and stay here. The market is, in other words, drying up at this level. Therefore, what's most likely to happen is you're probably going to see a bounce back out to these levels. Now, it doesn't mean that breakout's not going to happen here, but at the moment, we are losing our incentive to come down. Now it's average, it's still above the average, but the average overall is that this whole move in the macro, that's the view in the micro. Let's stop there, and then I'll give you the next view. So right now, this makes the odds that we're going to play back up here in these areas near 5.25%. Average, somewhere around 5.25%, which means the markets, if this goes up, your cryptos may go down for the next few days. If that's what happens, if we start bouncing on this line overall, look for this type of event on the daily chart. In addition to that, although I'm not going over this too in depth, on the daily chart, we have a strong decrease as the market's going down. Okay, that decrease in volume on the macro view, or VSA, volume spread analysis. In the macro view, we can see as price is coming down, the volume is also coming down, which means that this whole move may be a correction unless we can get on this side. The sentiment is that they don't want prices in these areas. So most likely, we may even have another reason to come back up, which means things will get bad for the next few days as well, or over the rest of the month. So if we're looking, today is the 24th. In the month of May, we may still find ourselves playing up here in a bearish territory for a little bit. Now, I don't want to be building above there, but we can still spike above there like we've done in the past. Okay, but right now, this may be a correction. So our saving grace, our hope for our next bullish market is to phase through. So you're really wanting the market to phase through for something good to happen. Okay, this is what we want. We want it to phase through and then come back up. Now that would be also a good play because it gives us a chance to get out of our short positions. Okay, as this comes back up, your markets will come down if you're in a short. And it also gives you a chance to get into a long position if we curl back up. So it's not the end of the world, but this is basically what's more likely to happen this week. These are going to be the scenarios that will play out. But right now it's looking like the market will go back up. In the macro view, the incentive is the market will come to about right there. Okay. And I'll put a little up arrow indicating the more likelihood. Again, you're not guaranteed anything, but it looks like 5.25% is on the board again. And possibly higher. Here is 5.70. Here is 6%. But I'm just letting you know 5.25 is somewhere about right here at the very least. Okay? I should give you guys that. About right there. So if you're watching this, that's going to be my report, USDT.D. You guys are wondering what's likelier to happen this week? Those are some of the things. All right. Triple J says, Abba's been testing many differently, especially the way we treat others. Abba is saying to put down, let go of pride, walk away from being stiff-necked, because as you do to them, do unto me. March 24th, 2025. Praise God. All right. Now I set my alert. If you guys don't have alerts on your support, set your alerts on some of your supports. I got an alert late last night. Said that USDT.D was touching its lower watch line, which is this line here. Click on your lines and set an alarm. Then when there's a little alarm clock symbol here, you can just click on that and set your alarm. Okay. When your alerts are set, you'll get a notification. And if you miss your notifications, you can always just go right here to the bottom on TradingView, right there, the little alarm clock symbol. Click on there and it's going to give you some alerts. Okay. Those are going to be prices hitting your map areas. Lets you know when to pay attention and when you can just rest. Okay. Bitcoin. All right. Here's a Bitcoin. A look at Bitcoin. Looks like we're coming up to our vortex here in March 28th, 2025. Prices building on this side, yet still underneath a stronger watch line or accelerated adjustment. It's this one right here in orange and in green. It's basically the same. It's a tiger line. It lets us know predominantly what's more likely to happen next. For Bitcoin on the daily chart, which is one of the more stronger ones, we can see that it broke down to this side and we're going up along this curve. I love when we go up on those curves because they're really easy to catch when it's time. I'm looking to short Bitcoin as we're coming in these areas. Now, we came up this area here in the same way that we just checked USDT.D on the bottom side to see if we have incentive to come lower. We're going to do the same with Bitcoin. Okay? We're going to do the same with Bitcoin. Do we have an incentive to come back down? Even though we're going up along this curve, do we have incentive to be playing to the downside? Just because the trend lines are broken here at these areas doesn't mean we're just going to immediately come down. It strengthens the odds for sure. It lets us learn to watch for where the opportunity is or watch for it. Okay? It lets us see price moving up along the curve. It lets us know where the real short is supposed to trigger. It lets us know some of the maximum prices to get those shorts, which is in this area here. And that's where we pressed up. So this is the maximum prices. But the more safer entry for the short is underneath these areas here. Is this going to trigger the move down to 75? The volume is going to give us a big clue about where the market really wants to go. In addition to all of that we're about to look, we have the larger watch line that's based on here. So it triggers when things are supposed to become healthy. In this case, it's right here. So if I'm building up on top of this white line and on top of this area, it's having a chance to come back into play. Until then, we're on the underside of there, and therefore that's the bearish thing. This red comes down to here. So it's basically where the average is. We're looking to play still in these areas, and the volume's going to tell us the high incentive. Now, I gave you the average prices before. He was 89 as the maximum, and that comes down each week or each day. Today it's somewhere, for the vortex it's around 87,665. Today that number is, give you this one. That number was 84 days ago. Now it's around 86 to 85 as price moves up along the track. Today it's 87. So our average for today, if we're pressing against the top, should be about 87.107. That's about the ballpark of what we're looking for on this chart. Okay. So are we going to be staying down here in the vortex? Let's take a look at the volume. So what is the volume looking so far? When we pressed up against here, the volume was about right there. This is going to determine if we have what it takes to break this resistance. It's about right here. Okay, we come up there. Okay, do you understand? Now that we're back in this volume zone block, we can compare the volume. The volume is now here. So unless that really changes in the next few hours and we still have a strong ink in the next 12 hours, what is going on with the volume and what might it mean for the next direction for Bitcoin? Somebody let me know.
Gonna go down? People want lower prices?
Okay. That means people want lower prices, or the market on average is not wanting to trade at that range. Now, if it's fearful at this range and there's a resistance above our head, I'm going to say it again. If it's fearful at this range, it's pulling away. The volume, the activity is pulling away. Nobody's really doing anything right here. There's a resistance above our head. That's one clue that the market wants to go back down to where that action or volume was, which is going to be somewhere back in these prices. So right now, the price has a higher incentive to come back down, and therefore what would it look like if we came down here? It would look like we're rejecting off the top. There's the top, remember. So it would look like we're bouncing off the top. And if we bounce off the top, that's a higher incentive that we're going down. So in one sense, in the macro view, there's a higher incentive for the market to come back down. And the average prices for those areas is going to be 0.82,000. So 82K. Not point, but 82K. Around there. This is letting us know that there's not a market. There's a market still down here and not really up here. So it makes the breakout higher, less likely. All right, that's what that means. It makes the breakout less likely. Now, if I'm viewing this in that sense, okay, that's the micro view. Did I write that down correctly? Make sure I write it down correctly. Now we're going to do the macro view. The same thing I did for USDT.D. I'm going to do this here. So this is the macro view. It shouldn't say macro, it should say micro. Let me edit this, okay? Clean up this chart a bit for you guys. We don't need a watch line since we're using this parabolic. Okay, that's about clean as I want it to be right now. Okay. I'm going to draw that one more time. I'm comparing, and this is the micro view, which is a more zoomed in version, individual groupings of bars or individual bars themselves. That's what I mean by micro. Okay, view in VSA, or volume spread analysis. Okay, the incentive is to come back down. Okay, that's where the incentive, 82K. So don't be surprised if we come back here, because there's not really a strong incentive. It's going to look like a rejection, most likely. Okay, it's not saying that can't go against me, but the odds are more so that I'm going to play down. Okay, again, be careful, just letting you guys know the odds. Okay, so that's one view. If you want, take a screenshot, and we're going to delete this one, and you can use that one. Okay, that's Bitcoin. Now I'm going to show you one more thing about Bitcoin that we talked about Bitcoin the other day. If the move is going against me or going up in the downtrend, I don't want to be looking to buy Bitcoin unless I was in a healthy place anyway. I only want to be hunting the up move in a downtrend. This is the up move. You see how we're going upwards? We're a fish going against the stream. If I'm going upwards in the downtrend, I'm more likely to be wrong. Okay? I'm more likely to go wrong if the move is going against the trend. So it's often better when you're trading to wait for the weaknesses, either here or here, in this case at the sword cut, somewhere in here where our odds of going down are more likely. Okay? Because we're going against the trend. I like when it's going against me. I'm hunting that. I'm looking for that fish. The hungry bear finds it very easy to find a place to sit next to the stream as the fish are swimming against the stream. They jump out of the water often. They reveal themselves. It's quite easy to see them. They snatch them up and eat salmon all day long. The fish swimming against the stream in this example is going to be this particular move. It's not saying that we're going to the moon, but the odds are more likely you're going to go down, so you want to find this and hunt it. Now, I've already given you that curvature in the other chart, but it's as I showed you, something like this down here. Okay. So this is actually the more appropriate moment to strike when you're going down. Okay. Here, in that area. Otherwise, if you're trying to get some of the highest prices, you want to be pressing somewhat against those trends or against these areas. Okay. But right now, the volume drying up at these top areas is letting us know the incentive for Bitcoin is likely that we're going to reject over the next, week or so? This is the 12-day chart. So sometime over the next week, it starts making it more likely we're going to be playing back down in these areas. And then we'll look again, possibly to go lower. But right now, that's what it's looking like, about 82K. Okay. So one more way we can view this, without just cutting prices, is what we call the macro view. And the macro view is what I call the macro view. The average of volume flowing in and out of a price. Not just the individual stuff, but the average flow of volume. Let me put it on using a histogram. Okay. When price is moving up, but the volume is coming down, it's telling me I don't want those prices. It starts telling me that the prices are drying up. It's telling me that this is more likely to be a correction. And we see this in a big way. Okay? When prices are moving clearly in one direction and the volume starts drying up, it's more likely that this is a correction, meaning it's going the wrong way. That's more likely to be the case. If prices start moving down and there's still a lot, and we see the volume drying up or starting to go in the wrong direction, on average, sometimes that means the market's going to do something else, either go up, consolidate. Look for those things. Here we see the market coming down and the volume's rising in this area. We do a lot of examples like this. That tells us it's moving the right direction. Okay. If it moves back up, and it still moves up also on higher volume, in this case, somewhere here, then the market's going to get mixed signals. So it's going to try to play in those areas. It's hence why we come back up to this area. Until it's clear again how the market feels. So we challenge back up these areas because it's saying, oh, there's still a market here. But it doesn't forget this move here. So now it is looking clear again. We're clearly going up, and the volume's clearly coming down. It's losing its incentive after we came back and played in these sword cut areas, which is right here. That's the sword cut, where we cross over. We teach this in lesson 1 and 2. Okay, so we're here, and the volume is drying up. So there's no real reason to play up here. If the down move is still strong, look to go down. I'm looking to short Bitcoin. I'm looking to short it to 75K. I've let you guys know in our analysis at the beginning of last week that I'm looking to hunt Bitcoin. This is some of the stuff we're watching. These are some of the best prices for that. If you guys are looking to strike, this is what I like. We are already stacking the odds in our favor. That's how I feel about Bitcoin. That's my take on this analysis. Anybody have any other questions regarding my take on Bitcoin? Okay.
Me?
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Do you see 72? I might be awake. That's what you did the last time.
Let me see my bottom here.
And 69.
I don't see it yet. But okay. Let me write this down, Triple J.
Good morning, by the way.
Good morning. How are you feeling today?
Lovely.
Okay, I see 72K, 69K. For those who are new to our community, Triple J has a very unique and wonderful prophetic gift, and we appreciate her, especially in our community. A few of you guys are prophetic in our community. I appreciate when you share your numbers with me, the things you're seeing, even on a chart, a map. It's powerful. And many times they cross over with some of our main areas. Anything else, Triple J, for this one?
I believe that if it's a wick, it might not go to that 69. I don't know if you remember that I told you that they wanted to bring it down.
Yeah, months ago.
Yeah, so here we are. And who knows, we might go down to 45K. I'm not saying we are. Just want to make that clear.
Okay.
Just saying their thoughts. I was just saying what's in their mind and what they would like. And yeah, and here 42. I have had 42 for a long time. But I believe it's more of a wick than the actual hitting 42. I could be wrong, but I do hear 42. I know at some point it's going to hit 42, even if it's just one crazy wick. And we've seen the crazy wicks. And I just want to say that I appreciate you too.
Thank you. I hear Abba telling me that they want to bring this down. Not that they will be able to, but I hear Abba sharing his thoughts. Come. And then I'm going to be able to paste what you wrote earlier. Come. Is it not updating? There it goes. Okay. Oh, you know what? I do have 72. I threw my 71 and 71, my thunder cut down here. It's on the lower side of that. 71, 62. So, yeah. There's incentive to, this is the average range where they're supposed to bring it this to. Okay.
Thank you for the confirmation. It's Abbas Inside Trading. Inside Trading.
Yeah, while we're on that subject, I had that dream a couple of weeks ago. I lost track of time, but I think it was about 2 or 3 weeks ago. Saw 52K, and
Did you?
yeah, just had a lot of confirmation since as well. Just confirmation after confirmation. Quite. I can't think of the right word, but it's a lot of times, which makes me wonder whether that might be sooner rather than later.
You said 52 or 62?
52.
52. Okay, in dreams. Multiple times, you said?
Yeah.
I believe this is confirmation. Come. All right.
Can I say one more thing?
Yeah.
He is, how did he put it? I'm sorry, he gave me specific words and I can't remember, but he did say, in other words, sorry, I'm going to have to, paraphrase what he said. He is showing us the mind of the elites.
Okay.
Nothing's, He's saying nothing is hidden from God. The elites, they can't hide. They just can't hide from him. He's reminding me of Jeremiah 33:33 when he and then a while back put a picture of my prayer that I did and I've done all my life, and I had a paper in this little booklet and I had it written down, and one of the scriptures, Jeremiah 33:33, where you pray. I've been praying for hidden things, and He's giving us the hidden things. Praise the Lord, and I pray that this same thing over all of you, that He'll bring all the hidden things that we can walk in his ways and be successful in his divine destiny for each one of us, including crypto.
You mean 33:3?
Yeah.
Okay. Call to me, I will answer thee, show you great and mighty things which thou knowest not. Any other comments, Triple J?
No love.
Praise
That's it.
God. Praise God. Anyone else? Anyone else?
Just to say, I suppose I wouldn't be against buying 62k like as a key level, or even some slightly higher prices if we're going to bounce. But no, I think there's quite a few people saying, I don't know. I think a fair amount of people are quite certain on 62. So I would say we are going to go fairly low, probably. But at the same time, yeah, I don't feel like we're going to go lower than 52. I suppose that's what I was showing, unless it would be low. But I don't see why it would have shown me that number if it was going to go lower. But yeah, just to say I'm not against buying higher levels, but I think I'd wait till at least 62.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Go ahead, Triple J.
I'm sorry. It's interesting that Ian says that, because a long time ago, the Lord said to me, he said, 45 is not going to go lower than 45K. And I'm like, but then later on he goes, oh, it's going to go down to 42. But I said, Lord, you told me it was going to be 45K. It was not going to go lower than that. And I spoke that because you told me to speak that. I said, yeah, but it's going to be a wick. So it's just going to be a touch. So I'm not saying that we're going down there. It could be, because he did say that the farther up we go, the lower we're going to go. So maybe we go up, we go down to 52, and then we go up, and then we come down to 45K. I don't know. That could be the case.
Okay. All right. Let's go to the next section of Bitcoin. I want you guys to let me know what's wrong with this watch line. Let's see if we can pick out what's wrong with this watch line, or some observations we might want to make about this watch line. And by watch line, we mean this one right here, okay?
You can look at the wicks.
The wicks. What do we observe about the wicks?
They look like it could be the same angle.
It looks like it can be the same angle, and you'd be right. If I'm looking at this angle right here, just back here, okay, this is about the same angle. So when they match, what does that mean for? What does this mean for a price when it presses up against here? When they start matching?
The wick might be the actual...
That the wick might be the actual angle we're going to pay attention to. So if I have two chances to come up to hit, I could reject off of 88, in this case, 88, if I'm being real exact. But I also could reject at 90. And still be correct in a downward analysis. That's what that means. So you could have prices moving up here and reject, but you can also reject here, or just reject in the general area against the resistance. Now against the resistance, we're already showing signs that we're cracking through that. So that's probably going to hold us back. And we already showed that the volume is drying up as we're coming up, which is quite interesting. Okay. It's some of the lowest volume we've had. The candle looks high, but the activity is really low. So most likely our incentive is to come back down. And if we come back down as we decided, it's going to look like we're rejecting off of these roofs or this vortex or this area that's coming up on March 28th, closer to the end of the month. We can even still play in here. But even if we wick, when we have a wick that matches the actual angle, we're going to be more concerned with the wick matching part. Okay, that's what we're going to be more concerned with, the wick matching part. That's going to be probably the real meaty part of that. So in this case, what we can do to denote that, we can type in wick match, watch line / wick match. The last one, I wrote it down, but it looks like it wasn't all adjusted correctly, or correct. This is more correct. Then the other thing we're going to do with this roof is we're going to make one thinner and one thicker. In this case, I'm going to make the one that's underneath a little bit thinner. Okay, so I'm going to bring down the thickness to, instead of it being real thick here, I'm going to come to the maybe that number 2 thickness, somewhere about right there. And then I'm going to close that. So it's going to draw my attention mostly to here. In fact, it's going to push this into this crevice, which is a vortex, which is now around March 31st. So to get me a little bit more accurate map, it's nice to be in the ballpark, but it's nice to be more accurate if possible. Okay, so the vortex somewhere in that crevice is going to be March 31st. Now I don't, as we talk about vortexes, it does not mean that price is going to hit those numbers, or well, we're already hitting that number. It doesn't mean we're going to be in that vortex, but if we ever find ourselves in those vortexes, either on top we go up, or on bottom we generally go down. Price loves to sit in those vortexes, but and it doesn't always, but when you see them, pay attention to them. They're a big clue. They're analysis in their own right, and they're often a big clue about what may happen. Okay, so let's keep an eye on those numbers. 88 for today, 90 for today. Yeah, about 90K for today. Okay, letting us know the incentives back to here to the lower numbers. Here's 81 for the wick side. Here 82 for the video that we talked about, somewhere about right there. So I'm letting you guys all know it's losing its incentive to try to break out, and we're pressing up against those roofs. Now's not the time I want to chase Bitcoin, when we're pressing up against here. If you're going to be buying it for any reasons, be careful buying at a top, because even if you're like, I don't agree with your analysis, that's fine. You do your own analysis. Maybe you're going to find things I don't see, but I'm letting you know this is a resistance. Okay, and we're getting there. We're almost there. So if you buy it right now because it looks juicy and you feel like you're missing out, you're probably buying at a top. Don't be surprised when we come back down and you come crying home to mommy, because it's scary to buy at a top. You got to be careful buying at tops. Even if you're right, if you find yourself fighting against the trend and that's your major watch line, be real careful going against that. It's better to wait for it to come and push out on the other side, especially if we get some closes and then come back in, especially on vortexes. That's what you want to be looking for to be safer to buy. I'd rather let somebody else take the risk. Every time we're at this resistance, I want somebody else to take the risk. I'll get out of my trades many times. If I need to get back in, I'm not losing much if I just break and pull back. And many times I'm not losing anything. Many times we'll even spike down to the underside, but we'll now be sitting in a more positive area. Other times I'll let somebody else take the risk, and I'll just wait for it closes and a drift. Or sometimes if I'm really bullish about that trade, I'll just buy right out the breakout once we get some closes there, and I'll just lose out on a little bit of profit that could be made as we're crossing over that, and then get me to the other side. But once we're against those walls, it's dangerous. It's a little bit like gambling. And I don't like to gamble. I don't like to gamble at all. I don't gamble. I take that back. I play left, right, center at Christmas. My family, we rolled the dice, and we put $3 in front of us. If we lose, then we move $1 to the left and $1 to the right, and then the dollars get passed around the table, and we end up gifting the whole pot of money to whoever wins. But apart from that, I don't really like to gamble. Gambling can be very dangerous. If you do gambling, you need to study professional gamblers. They take the risk out of that. They try to do as many things to take the risk out of the move. For them, it's not gambling. Now, there's a very fine line, because I'm not advocating gambling. I'm just letting you know the science behind it. Farming can be a gamble if you don't know what you're doing. Vesting in any area, even a sure thing, what you think is a sure thing, could be a gamble. Starting a business can be a gamble. There's variables involved that we can't control. You can only control as many variables as you can control with what you can foresee. If I'm starting a business and I say, hey, I'm going to do that business, but the market could dry up and I can run out of customers, even if it's a great business. There's a part that I can control. There's a part that I can hustle. There's things that I can do to make sure that I'm going to be successful in the endeavor. But ultimately, you're not guaranteed that it will be successful. If I'm going to write a book, I can do all my parts, I can do the marketing, but ultimately, it's up to the customer to decide if they're going to buy. Nobody has a gun to their head to buy the book. I can't force them to, but they may. The odds are they're going to. You can stack odds in your favor before taking strong actions, before planting your wheat, before planting all of your crops. You can pray for rain, but ultimately, it's going to be up to the Lord to bless something, or it's going to be up to chance. If I hope it rains, whatever you're going to believe regarding those matters. And the markets are the same way. You can do your analysis, stack the odds as best you can, but you're not guaranteed what's going to happen. You want to try to see as many variables as possible and move from there. Try to position yourself accordingly. All right, that's a little lesson about gambling. Let's look at CPOOL. Oh, InvestBox says this, copy on bottom. He's talking about the watch line. In this case, I think we're actually going to be dealing with the outward oscillation. It's going to be something like that. Most likely. Yeah, it's going to be something like that. So let me extend this out. We'll talk about that next time, okay? Oops. And there's that. And then the wick match for that is going to be about right here along the same angle. This will be the downward angle. It's a different angle, so I'm going to give this a different color. And I'll just do something like that. Okay. And the next vortex after that, if we start going down and take the plunge to these prices of 62,000, Triple J, You there, Triple J? Interesting.
Sure am.
It's about 62, very close to 60. Here's 62 right here on the vortex of April 5th, and then April 13th, it's 63. I'll give you both here, starting with that one. Interesting. April 5th, 2025. This is a daily chart. Interesting. And there's just 63. It might be, if we're falling in the short, I may want to put I may want to short it down to, instead of 75, I may want to short it down to 63 if it's a big one, which it may be, but we'll watch. If we play here a little bit towards April 5th, 6th, I'm going to be looking here. That might be something you might want to watch for. Okay. What's the number on the 29th? The 29th, I don't have a vortex on the 29th, but the lower number is about 69. The earliest one is about 69.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
For like when we take pictures, is it possible stuff like this, can you put the dates on it? Ask.
Yeah. Let me write.
Say like when we're like, if we decide to short.
Okay, March 29th is about 68 on the high side. It's closer to 69. And then the other vortex for here is about, let's give you that number, May 1st. So this is somewhere around, April 14th. Somewhere around April 14th for this last one. And those are some of the more closer vortexes. All right, the picture should load in just a second. Hold on. Yep, there it goes. Okay, so if you want to take a picture of some of these numbers right now, if you're on the, no, it's not time to short BTC right now, Lydia. If you're going to short, you need to short it below 81, or you need to short it at the high of closer to 88. We're touching there right now, I guess. 88. Maybe 90 since the wick match. So if you can get 90, you're going to stack the odds in your favor. But remember, just be careful with that one. Okay? Anywhere in these prices is fairly good, but somewhere around 90 might be a good closer entry if you're going to get it. And if you're in a short anywhere in the average position, you're probably going to be negative at the moment. Okay. Be careful over leveraging. Do not over leverage. Oh my gosh, please guys, do not over leverage. You're dealing with averages. An easy way to know how you're leveraging, guys, is this. Take the average candle. It's super easy. Take the average candles in those areas and use that as a range. See if you're right. Look at, here's a wick down here. Here's some of the average. Here's another candle down here. If you're trading in here and you if you're saying, I'm going to enter on this candle right here, March 16th, and you can't take a move up to that high, wherever that high is, the average, you're over leveraging. If price goes there and you're stopped out, you're over leveraged. You're over trading. You need to be taking smaller positions. Okay, 7 ventures for you do not know what befall the land. So that means the Bible says invest in 7 ventures for you do not know what will befall the land. Okay, Yeah, you may be right about all 7, but you don't know the timing all of it, and to declare otherwise, maybe you're the perfect prophetic person, but I don't know many people who are. So if God said that, then I'm going to err on the side of God. And if God's telling me to be wise and a steward with my money and not be a gambler, then I'm being careful going all in on anything. If I can't take a move up to 90,000, where is this at? This is 91,000. I'm overtrading. Okay? This is the average moves that can happen in a 24-hour period. Do you see how to do that? It's quite simple. So wherever you're at, if you're trading stop losses or something like that, you need to be able to give yourself some wiggle room. If I'm buying at the top of this candle right here, I need to give myself incentive to 93,000 at least. At least. Okay? If the trade's going against you and you're losing your shirt and you're crying, you're overtrading. I'm sorry. I'm tough today, but that's the way it is. Look at this candle over here. How long is it? It's the same distance, right? Am I making this up? Oh, I was completely unexpected. It should not be, guys. It should not be unexpected. That's how far prices run in just 1, 2, or 3 days. You can be right. The move is down, right? But look how high we can spike up. You can be right about your analysis, but you can go against you the average of these ranges. That's the game. Trading is a game designed to make you lose. And if you know how they play the game, you're going to stop. Some of you, it's going to cause you to stop intraday trading for some of you, unless you can catch it or really know. For others, it's going to just calm you down so you can understand the ranges. Like, this is normal. When you're going in a plane and you never flew in a plane before and you encounter turbulence for the first time, you're panicking. Your knuckles turn white. You're gripping that thing. You're looking at the flight attendant. Tell my mother I love her. Tell my mother I love her. Because you don't know what's normal. After a while, you just sleep through it. You fly as often as some people. You're like, I know. Right? This is the kind of things we're talking about. Does that make sense? If you're taking a 10x leverage position and you can't take a move up to here, you're overtrading. It's better you to take a 2x leverage or a 1x leverage by not trading really leverage at all. If you're shorting, you're going to move it into your futures at wallet or your future side of your exchange. If you need more help, you can contact me. We'll talk you through it. Otherwise, do some YouTube videos about how to short in the futures for cryptocurrency. Most of the cryptocurrency wallets, you have an option for shorting. That means you're going to move the money into the future side, and then you're going to short from there. You're going to open a short position. But make sure you change that leverage from 10, because it's going to try to default you to 10 leverage. Bring it all the way down to 1, 2, or 3. Do that to protect yourself. You're not guaranteed anything in the market. Even me, I can do my analysis eventually, but sometimes the trade takes longer than I want. Sometimes the trade doesn't move when I want. Sometimes the trade doesn't move in the direction I want. But most of the time you can only stack odds in your favor. All right. Any other questions regarding Bitcoin? My thoughts on Bitcoin? Maybe a game plan. What's happening with this? Okay.
I have one more thing. I think Marco said 35K that he saw on his. Are you there, Mark?
Yeah, I brought that up a while ago.
Really?
A couple weeks ago. I wanted to say also that there's some people throwing out warning dates for the 4-4 and 4-7. The 7th.
Okay. All right. Now, if we go those low numbers, look for USDT.D to be on the opposite side. When that one comes down, cryptos go up. But it's not always the case, guaranteed, but it starts stacking the odds. And that would be looking very bad for the market if Bitcoin's going to go all the way down to 30,000 or something. That's going to be a very negative position. But we'll be one of the first to see as it's happening. Our community will be one of the first to see that things are going sour, because we'll see the USDT.D on the opposite side. And we'll go from there and perform the analysis from there. Okay. I am very bearish the market, and just so you guys know, I'm bearish Bitcoin. I'm bearish a few of these things. I think the only one I'm not really bearish on so much is XRP. Okay. Let's go to CPOOL.
Can I say something? I don't see it as a negative thing. I see it as an opportunity, because when it goes up, it's going to go up with force.
One other thing I just want to mention, I was listening to Waters Above Crypto last night, and he was suggesting that we're going to take Bitcoin to 94 and then dump it. And I think that we're getting a 94 confirmation from Marina.
Wow. Good. All right. This looks very similar to Bitcoin. All right, this has a very, let's look at CPOOL. It has a very interesting watch line. Definitely is a type of parabolic based on the gesture. Okay, but based on the gesture, we're going to be looking for breakouts soon. So let me do one of these. This is going to be our standard parabolic. I'm going to do another one, and I'm going to use the blue color to count for gesture. Okay. According to the gesture analysis, we may be at a top here as well for CPOOL. Somewhere in this area, it's very close to a top. I'll get you some prices. And it also may mean the start of a breakout soon. Okay, I'm going to look to see the high volume on this up bar, and it's not super high. That bar, not really super high today, but we still got 9 hours left to go, so let's continue watching that volume. Same with the others that are high today. Let's look at the volume here. Now, I do have an up move like this, so if you're trading this and you're looking for weaknesses and you're looking to short this one, you want to be looking in the next few days, so somewhere like that. The breakdown needs to happen somewhere around 15 cents. At the moment, you're still going up. Not my cup of tea in a downtrend, but if I get above the watch line, which is somewhere here, that parabolic, I'm going to be looking to start moving up higher. Let's make this look thicker, and then I'll make it white. Okay, or you know what, I'll keep it yellow, but I'll make it dash so you guys know I'm talking about like a watch line. Okay, let's mark a few areas of here of importance. Let's measure, did we come all the way down to where we were supposed to? Let's measure a few of these areas with target system. Okay, all of these areas were hit with a nice bounce. That one, no bounce on that one. Okay, so that's going to be good. Let's do the next area. And from here, to find out where our next roof might be, if I'm measuring this top to this bottom, I have a target at the top here. I don't know if we're going to hit that target, but it's on the board. And here, these are going to be important areas for me. I'm going to mark those two. 0.23 cents to 0.25. 0.11 to 0.13. And I'll be a little more accurate. 135. And on the 11 cents is 85. Oh, sorry, 11.18. So 11.18, 13.35 to the top side of 23.96. Sorry, 23.90. 25.96. Okay, those are going to be some numbers I'm going to pay attention to, or I would pay attention if you're looking at CPOOL. Okay, so watch those areas, and let's make myself full screen. Okay, so you want to take a dot screenshot so far. Draw those. Let's draw a few more things on this one. We got a strong round structure here. We're going to use this as a fulcrum for some of the watch lines we're going to draw. I'm sorry, some of the supports I'm going to draw. Meaning, if I draw a line from here to here, I'm going to pay attention to that one. If this was a bottom, we also want to pay attention to those. In this case, I'm going to draw both. Let's turn on a weekly chart to simplify things. This current one is about here, and I'll give you the number for the breakdown, 10 cents. And then I'll give you the shrink these smaller ones. Then I want to give another angle using that same fulcrum with the round action. I'm going to bring it up here on the wick side, and then I'm going to bring it to the on the core, and then I'm going to bring it on the wick side to check for a match. We don't have too much verification, but it's where I'm at right now, so I'm gonna leave this core angle on, and I'm gonna give that a color, and then I'm gonna give one more with a different color because it's a different angle, and I'm just gonna watch these two areas since this is what I have. Okay. Now, the thing about this is, as I'm drawing these, I'm looking for crossover correlations. I'm looking for something that's going to start painting a picture that tells the same story. In other words, a type of verification. One of the things I see is, and you guys will see it too, this is my round structure. If this is another round structure or even a smaller peak, these are my two energy centers. At the meaty part, the core part, I got some verification along that track. That's going to be my verifications. It's going to be about here and here. Okay. Now, when I do that, what do we notice about when price crossed over here? What do we notice about this area here? Okay. Anybody? Let's make an observation. If price crosses to the downside here, what are some observations we can make about this? This one's important. Who gets it? InvestBox got it, I think. Let me check the time. Yep. SC. SC for sword cut. The sword cut happens here. Now, what do we notice about this sword cut?
It's in alignment with the target.
It's in alignment with the target. It overlaps the target. You see that? Now, to denote this, we can either draw... We can draw one forward, the thicker one in the back, and we'll put that in the background, and then the thinner one, this target, we'll put this in the front. That's one thing we can do. We can also, by clicking that, and it'll look like this, we can also put a border around one that's one color or the other. So if the sword cut's here, I can put the sword cut border, or I can put this alignment of the target with the orange border if I wanted to, or put this sword cut, make it the border and inside green. In this case, I'll just draw it like that. That's how I'm going to note that on my notes. So once you got that, you can fade away your line. But it's worth drawing and seeing where they overlap. That means that if CPOOL goes up, I'm going to be looking to properly take profit at 23 cents. Current price is 16 cents, which makes the money that's on the table potentially 42% or 48%. So something like that is where I'm going to be looking for this. It overlaps that. Does that make sense? Okay, so look for some of those clues. They often help us. All right, let's see. If I'm breaking down to the downside right here, what are some clues about how far I'm supposed to fall? So I know that I'm really looking at a bounce here and I should go going up, or I'm looking to bounce lower right now. What is some clues about how far I'm supposed to fall? Because I drew this line from here to here, but what if I didn't have that and I didn't know that this is really the bottom and we continue going further? Beside the target, is there any other clues that tell me about how far I'm supposed to fall? There's a very big clue on this chart.
Is it the flat?
We can look at flats. Okay, that's one thing we can look at if we have verifications for flats, and maybe we do. We got a little bottom here, maybe about here, and we're in that same area. It's not so clear, but maybe. Okay. I'll fade it away in the background a little bit. Okay, who else? Okay, somebody's drawing this angle here. All right, so somebody took this angle right here and duplicated that one out up here. Do I get a verification there? No. What about here? No. What about here at the smaller area? Any verification? No. So I got to be careful DPing at this if there's no real verification for it. I want an oscillation. There is another way we can do this. Okay. If we start breaking down and we're going down, once we're here, something is supposed to happen. I'm supposed to remember something that happens. Starts with an E. Does anybody remember? It's a big one we talk about pretty often. Okay. Yeah, we could bounce down here. I just want to know. I want to know if this was my bottom here at 909. I want to know if that's really a strong bottom, or today we're going to come back down. I want to know where the real bottom is at here. Volume. Yeah, we could look at volume to see if we're going to continue going further, or to see if we're going to reject here. Maybe that's going to help. But there's another one I want you guys to try to think of. Especially since both of this alignment right here. If this is a sword cut in alignment with the target, I'm going to put some, and I have some verification along this, I'm going to pay attention to this angle. That's going to tell me price changed behavior past this angle, in this case February, in the month of February. Something I was supposed to account for once we crossed over. It wasn't just a sword cut. I'm supposed to account for something that starts with an E. It's real important. I'll jog your memory, but I want to see if anybody gets it. Okay. 5 more seconds. Okay, the answer I'm looking for is called event. Okay, so I'm going to try to minimize these lines just to simplify. Okay, event is when I have energy centers. Okay, so there's my energy centers here. This is the center of this energy. All right, and they break, and we get a new behavior. Like we have a sword cut, and then maybe we're coming up. If I know that sword cut's been broken, I want to count for the last upside event, okay? In this case, it's these 2 energy centers. These are going to give me a specific angle. That angle is duplicated and brought to the downside, or that lower energy center. In this case, it's going to be about right here. So if I bring this angle down, approximately, it should give me where the bottom is. Approximately. So I know what I'm looking at with more higher degree of certainty. I know I'm more looking at a support of some type. Does it make sense? On average. Does that make sense? Did you get it? After a while, you almost don't need to draw them. You can just start seeing them pop out and then draw it. But until then, I want you to remember some of these principles. This is called event. The last event basically means the last major thing to happen to price. Now the psychology before the breakdown, before breakout, or breakout / breakdown. Some people just use the blanket word breakout, and that's fine. Okay, event. That's this. The reason this is important is because there were buyers here. There were people who entered the market right here. They got in. They were like, woohoo! And they lost a lot of money. No! And they're here, and they're like, woohoo, we're going to win again. And they lost the money. No! Plus the people that bought up here who were chasing the market. So 2 sets of people lost a lot of money. Their average pain that they can take is along this angle. Okay? Bringing out, in addition, if you combine it with the people who are going to be taking profit and feeling bad that they're losing profit, the average comes out to about right here. Okay, that's how we calculate. That's why event is important. Okay, that's the psychology behind it. These guys are in pain, and they get out of pain here. This is how you can catch bottoms or smaller bottoms within a bounce. So if I know I'm coming down, I might be going down, but what's going to happen is price doesn't go straight down many times. It'll bounce at these events. I don't always catch events. I don't always look for the event. But when I see them, I look for them, and sometimes, as often as I'm reminded, I will try to keep that in mind. It's one of the analysis you can perform. It's called event. All right, let's get a little bit more accurate. Okay. Let's draw the event. I'll start here, and then we also look for wick side, but it's something about that angle, right? You're trying to get in the ballpark with event. It's somewhere here on the wick side. Okay. All right. So we can see now, with a higher degree of certainty, that when price is touching this number exactly, we're talking about event, or very close to it. 9 cents. Okay, 0.91. So therefore, events are powerful because they reveal another set of weakness. In other words, if price was coming down further for this crypto, it might trigger some more trades on the short side underneath this area. Now, what do we notice about, what's another thing we noticed about this event, okay? And price meeting together here at March 10th. Okay, so when price fell on March 10th, what do we notice about this angle? What observations can we make? Anybody? No? Come on. You guys can see something? Good. Okay, we can notice that mid-phantom. Good job. Good job. The mid-phantom is halfway. All right, that's a fantastic observation. If we extend the mid-phantom halfway, we're getting verification for the mid-phantom. Here, let me turn on my verification color. Here, maybe here. Maybe that one. What does mid-phantom verification do to my angles? It does something to my angles in my mind. For our minds, and for the purpose of our art.
It tells you you're doing it right.
It tells us we're doing it right. It strengthens the resolve of that angle. Okay? So that's going to let me know with more certainty that if I'm playing below 9 cents, I probably need to be looking to do what?
Is that a mid-phantom, Jay?
That's approximately a mid-phantom. Somewhere about here.
Okay.
Somewhere about here. Okay. It tells me I need to do what? If price is playing below this angle at the bottom.
Oh, it's weak.
Yeah, it tells us it's weak. If I start seeing price playing below that angle, I know something's gone wrong. I need to be thinking weakness. Okay. So that's one way we can use that angle. There's another way there's another observation we can make about this angle and when price came here in March 10th. What was something else that we might have observed? Now I'm observing it now. This is my first time looking at this crypto, but we could have caught it.
It bounced.
It bounced, yeah, sure. What else about this? How about that?
It overlaps, yeah.
It overlaps maybe that flat area that some of you might have noticed months before. So if we were here and we were like, hey, maybe there's a bounce, and hey, maybe that's a bounce right here, right? That's definitely a bounce in April or August of 2024. And we keep our eyes on that, and then we start drawing the event, all right? We start drawing some of these upward angles. We start saying, hey, we're going down. Let's draw the event. That means months in advance, you can actually capture where those bottoms are. That's why our maps look the way they do, because we catch vortexes months, sometimes days, sometimes weeks in advance, depending on the time frame we're drawing. Where they overlap, this was a what? What do we call this? What do we call this? Okay. We call that a vortex. This is a more recent example, not so much a live example of how vortexes work. This was March 10th. Now March 10th already happened, but that's an example of when price comes together and overlaps multiple analysis. Okay? We got all of that from one angle up here and this flat, or two angles. Okay? So that would have been a vortex. So I'm just going to type it in vortex example since we missed it. It's not a future vortex. A little black hole. Just so you understand how vortexes work. You're not always guaranteed price is going to be in those pockets, but when they are, you bounce out really strong. It's sometimes an easy type of trade. So for this crypto, that probably would have been a good thing. Maybe we would have been looking for a more immediate watch line, maybe on a 12-hour chart. Maybe would have took a trade, something like that, up to the next resistances based on the gesture or something like that. Okay. Maybe we would have made that money from here to here. Okay. All right. Anyway, at any rate, I'm going to leave you with this for COQ, for ClearPool. Carol, question? Or hot mic? Hot mic. Okay. All right, I think that's all I'm going to give you guys for these ones. Let me just draw real quick some things I see. I'm going to just put a sword cut down here for the future. In case things go south, I'm going to be looking for support somewhere about right there, and then we can come back and revisit this later on. Any questions more for this crypto, my friends? Questions, comments, before I look at the next crypto? This crypto still has some strong volume on the upsides. It's right that we're playing up here, but let today finish. You're probably going to have high volume at the end of the day since we have 9 more hours. So my concluding analysis is we're probably going to be looking to this price here, okay? Because the volume's still going to be strong by the end of the day. So as we challenge, the volume's probably going to be here. And if the volume's going to be here at the end of the day, that means that we still have a lot of incentive to play to the top side. So that means we're going to be looking to hit 20 cents at least. Possibly up to the target, okay? Possibly up to the target at 24 to 26 cents or 20 cents, okay? If I'm hitting here and I still have high volume, I'm going to spike, most likely, okay? But I'm going to give you that. Those are the areas I'm looking for. Not really so much here because of the volume, okay? So I'm going to draw those little arrows. If that's all your questions, we'll move on. and I'll put one up there. All right, the next crypto is ZBCN. Let's look at ZBCN, Zebek Network. Let's look at on KuCoin. Ooh, very messy, very messy. This is one of those perfect examples of getting the average range for these cryptos and taking trades accordingly. That means that if I'm in a buy or sell, I need to give myself room this distance, okay? Because this is the average trading range. Does that make sense? Look at even today. I measured it back here. Look at. So if I can't take any loss greater than these, so if I enter a position, I need to be making sure I'm not over leveraged and able to take these type of moves. Okay. All right, let's go. I'm gonna go first on a high level time frame. Let's start with the 2-week chart. Still messy. Let's go to a weekly chart. Still very messy, but I see a flat emerging. It's a great place to start. High level views are a great place to start your hunt. Okay, I see about a flat here. Then I see that of the top area, I'm hitting 1, 2, 3, but I'm spiking above. Course, if I bring it up to the core level here, I'm spiking here, so this tells me my oscillation is much larger, and this is basically the oscillation. Okay, that's what that tells me. At first glance, if you're not looking at these high level time frames, you won't see this stuff. You're going to just see this messy. Okay, but when you zoom out, you can start seeing more of the story starting to unfold, and then you can go from there. Now, if this is my top and this is my bottom of the larger oscillation, my mid phantom is going to be somewhere about the average between those two areas, somewhere about halfway, and we're bouncing more on the high side, so I wonder if the oscillation is actually bigger. Let's try bringing our flat down a little bit more accurately, maybe to about right here. And then let's bring our, and then let's see if we can bring this. It shows a little bit more. Maybe these spikes all above mid phantom are clue that we're trying to be on the high side. Maybe. So is this one really clear for me to take up and down trades? No. It's more better to trade in range trading mode, which is at the extremities, which means you're not really entering hunting up or down moves. You're just looking more towards the extremes. In range trading mode, when you're just only oscillating in a flat way, you're only really paying attention to these type of extremities. From there, you can draw shorter watch lines, such as, for example, if I'm waiting here, just say I'm back here around the date's December 24th. My watch line is going to give me a more answer about right here. I'm hitting my extremity of the wall and then coming out. That might be a more safer entry for me. Okay, something like that. Otherwise, you're just trying to get the extremities themselves. When you're doing range trading, I don't see a lot of this lately in the market, but when you see it, our indicators like RSI can be used for their band feature. Okay, the band feature is I don't know if you guys can see it, but I'll try to show it to you. In certain indicators, I like this RSI, it's a different RSI. This is the Quantro RSI, so it's a more dynamic band. But the band features, cryptos like indicators like Bollinger Bands or things like that, they usually just hit the outer boundaries. If you identify that price is trading in an oscillation and your trading and your indicator is at a band, sometimes those are easier ways to navigate this. In this case, if you look at RSI really closely, there's a few areas that you can use to give you another gauge of what price is doing. Here it is. Now, if you guys can see it, it's a line about right there. Can you see it? Okay. Price starts bouncing in these bands, in these areas. Oh wait, this one's going to be more like shim, and this one more like shim right there. Okay. They start bouncing in these bands here, and they start giving early signals. They start coming to the extremities of these bands. In this case, since I'm not really at the top, these are just when they're spiking out. But if you compare now these areas to the actual band on price, you can see your odds start going up. So here's that one, same one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. On the top side, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. If you're drawing any watch lines to help secure your trades, it's like a short here. Let's see, where's this one? This is going to be one short here, and then here's the other one up there. This one's going to be a little bit more harder, maybe a short here or a shorter, maybe right there. Okay. So those are going to be ways that you can use when you have oscillating that just oscillate flat. You can use oscillating RSI type or Bollinger Band type indicators. They can help you, give you an extra confirmation if you're trading like in a range. In this case, the price is definitely trading in a range. Okay, as such, our current watch line is going to be something like this. So there's no real trade that's triggered. If it do take a trade, it's going to be to the short side. Okay, but right now, and then you're only going to trade it till and take profit at your extremities. Unless you have a strong indication that you're going to break out, be careful of trading past the range bands. So I'm only wanting to short and come out, or come out back into the trade, or even up to the averages and then just take some profit. Something like that. Be careful when you're doing things like this. Okay. To the upside, you're going to have a parabolic, something like this. So I'll draw it for you. We'll give you a color, light blue. How about that? The upside, you're looking for breakout and prices to build above the 0012 with the vortex somewhere around April 4th. The wicks are going to match, so you're probably going to be looking on the high side. If it's today, the number is going to be a little bit different. If you come back up today, the number is going to be 129. So 12.9 instead of 12. Okay. Something else about this crypto. Let's look at the volume. I want to check to see if anything in the volume, and then I will look at one more crypto. I'm going to go to that weekly chart. The volume is really high still in the middle, so I don't really know what to make of that just sitting there in the middle just yet. It's on a little doji, so I'm going to say it's still messy. We start getting that was back in November. Now here in March, we got a large down bar on high volume, but the move is followed by an immediate up bar that's back on high volume as well. So it's like a pair. These type may indicate that we're actually going to be having a stronger incentive to the upside, because when you see them in a down move back to back, that tells us mostly buying is coming in, because buying by professionals has to happen on down bars. But when the clue is that they overbought or they're buying too much, is that very next bar comes all the way back up, and it's also on high volume. So generally these are indications that we're going to break up to the top side, or there's a move that's gradually trying to move to the top side. So that's an incentive that buying may be coming in, which is good if you're wanting this crypto to go up higher. We're more incentivized to get it. So I'm going to put some buying coming in, and by buying I mean by professionals. Let's see, I'll just put professional. And by professionals we mean like small banks, large hedge funds, institutional trading, things like that. Apart from that, I'm not going to take too much. See how we have a large down bar here? Some buying starts coming in. This is when we start going sideways or up. All right, so buying in accumulation campaigns has to happen on down moves and down bars. So this may be some of that buying coming in, and this may tell us that this is being accumulated at these areas. There was some selling that may have, this one is going to be probably a shakeout there. That middle bar right there, it's just so strange. That one we talked about a little bit ago, it's probably a shakeout to throw people off. And then we have a up bar on quite high volume, but the down bar, not so much. We come back down. So there is some profit taking, but it doesn't look like it's too much. Overall, this might be a very large accumulation area. So I'm going to just put this in my notes here. March 24th, 2025, ZBCN, Seeds Days video, possible accumulation campaign beginning, not complete, but just beginning. Okay. All right. Any other questions, comments regarding this crypto? All right. And my last crypto for today, XCN. Here it is, Onyx coin. I think I got 10 requests today for this crypto. Everybody's asking me. No. Where are we at? Looks like we hit our target, our swing target a few days ago. January 20, no, this is a weekly chart. A few weeks back, January 20th, bouncing off our target up in the sky. It's quite nice. I love our targets because they let us know where those are in the sky. We got very close to our main target, which is somewhere about right here. I gave you guys the price. Very close to that one. And then we're coming back down. Now we're coming back down to these areas. Of our initial oscillation, this would have been a DP projection. Okay, but we didn't get any response here. Although it was a vortex, it was going to be acting like a target. So if we're shorting from our upper target down to our lower target, that was the price we're looking to get to. The week before, we came down and bounced all the way back up, and this was where we're trying to get to. This was a health. We were watching a watch line to see if we get a bounce out of there. We did not. We broke down through. That means we're looking to get to our next support, which is here. And I love our map so much because I gave them to you guys all those numbers in advance. So this is where that's at, 0.012. Okay, so fantastic. Fantastic. One moment, my friends.
Hey, Jason.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's only me, but I see you like in very slow motion.
Am I in slow motion, guys?
Not for me.
My in slow motion.
Yeah, now I see slow-mo. Cool.
Okay. In a previous look in February, at the end of February, we were looking at the volume drying up in the macro view, lack of interest, which means we're going to be looking at this entire move as a correction. So this is one thing we looked at when we were looking at XCN. Okay, so we're looking for this. At the moment, we were watching this to see us coming back down to the VZB. What is this one? What is the date here? In March 5th. Okay, that's good. Hold on. Okay, here's another look at XCN. Crypto has moved down on lack of interest. This is when we were in these areas. Crypto has moved down. Assuming the market is moving in the right direction. If price moves before the watch line. Okay, correction lets us know which direction the market's more likely to go. If the down move is on drying up on volume, it's more likely we're going to be looking for a bounce. Now, when you have a bounce, pay attention especially to your watch lines. Watch lines are the upper resistance. They start letting us know when it's time to start looking to get back in. But until then, you let price move itself. You cannot force price to do it. Even if you believe it's a correction, watch your watch lines. In other words, today, as we see this down move, here's your watch line to the top side. It's something like this, these angles. We need, if you see price coming down, you're like, okay, yeah, it's a correction, we may reverse. Sure, you may be right. But are we going to reverse here? Or are we going to reverse here? Or even are we going to reverse at the lower target? Okay, you can't force price to reverse at one of those. You can only look for it to happen. So let's confirm in the last few weeks if that correction is still happening. Okay, is the volume still drying up for XCN? Yes or no? I'll go to a I'll go to a 2-day chart. You guys give me a clear answer. What is it?
Yes.
Yeah, it's still coming down. The volume's still coming down, which means that we're going to be looking for bullish. But does that mean we strike today? Do we strike today?
No.
No, we don't. Turn my phone, do not disturb. We don't strike because we got to be careful to watch or wait for our watch line. Now, if the price starts bending like this, if you start to see price bend, you got to draw your parabolics like that. If price is more straight like this, draw your straights. Okay, in this case, it seems to be really straight, so we're still going to be drawing our straights. Let's continue out our watch lines. They're just going to continue out. They let you know what to watch for, but they also let you know timing to help you keep you safe. Okay, so as long as you have it. So right now our watch line, this one's going to be fade away really strong. This one's, we'll just keep these prices here, or the targets there. This one we'll delete, and we'll fade away these that we don't really are not really active so much in the moment. These will still come out in the future just in case we need to use them. I'll put some numbers here just to clean up our chart a little bit. 0.018, 0.016. Okay, so price building below this area that it's supposed to bounce on, as it's a correction. If it doesn't, it tells us we're going to get cheaper prices. And if we know that, we can, if we're going to buy it anyway, I'm either going to pay this price after a watch line, or I'm going to pay this price after a watch line. So what's wrong with me putting my circle here? The thing that's wrong with me putting my circle here is it's not past the watch line. If I have a watch line, use it. In this case, the watch line is this long dotted white line right there. So I'm going to put the health mark right here. And this gives me a vortex, right? I can calculate the vortex. It's going to be about 009, and the date is approximately April 1st. So if I wanted to, I could have seen this in advance too. Where's my call out? Here. We could have saw the vortex was about here for that lower target where they intercept, and then I saw another vortex here. That's how we calculate vortexes all the time. Okay, so this date, let's give you April 1st, around there. So April 1st area vortex. And what this means is if price just happens to fall in this nice little pocket, we have more odds to shoot out, but we still are watching for our watch line to give us more confirmation. I want to phase on that side so I have a chance to go up. I like that the whole thing's on lack of interest. The whole thing is a giant correction, but is the correction ended just yet? Not yet. We have another vortex area based on the bowed parabolic here in red, possibly. Something I drew for you guys. We also have a target down here overlapping that area, so it's going to give me more of a vortex also around these prices. Let's put them on the board. 0.0072 to 0.0053 for the low side. So I have these lower prices and possibly still more downside to me. I got to be real careful just buying just yet. At my last down move, or this move here on March 10th, there was still strong volume. It was one of the highest on average, apart from this one up here. This one into weakness tells me they're still selling. This one down here tells me there's still a market on the lower side, possibly. So there's still a lot of more incentive to play here for the next few days. So I'm not looking for a breakout, even if I have a watch line. So I'm not like watching it like a hawk, because I don't really need to. So if it's me, I'm going to be actually looking more towards this price. And maybe towards the same around April 3rd. Maybe get somewhere before the 5th. I might be looking for a bounce there. Not guaranteed, but it's something I'm going to be looking for. Okay? So I'll draw some arrows. Does anybody have any other questions? We already did the homework of this one, drawing those targets. If I have a target, it's a stronger incentive here rather than just here. Or if it bounces there, I'm going to be looking possibly for a spike there. But targets generally take precedence. So I'm going to be looking at there, possibly a bounce, but watch. Okay, make sure you watch your watch line. Be careful, please. Don't strike until you generally, I like to be at a target and bounce out, or be at a strong support and bounce out. That's what I like to do. So, yeah. I'll show you how I like it. Okay, any other questions, XCN? Comments? Onyx coin, going once. I like it, but I need it to come down lower. Am I okay to short this? Am I okay to short this? I got one no. Okay, who thinks yes, who thinks no? I got one yes from InvestBox. Oh no, that's not a yes for that one. InvestBox says no, okay. Yes and no, maybe yes and no, okay. No, we got one no. Okay. It might be dangerous to short this because the whole thing's on lack of interest. It's like chasing a market that's going upside down where there's lack of interest. I got to be real careful shorting it. It's like chasing towards the end of a market. Okay. If I'm going to chase it, you need to do it very carefully. This is a 2-day chart. I'll flip it back normal. This is a 2-day chart. I need to zoom in and take my trades in kind. So Here's a 2-day chart. I'll look at the volume from here to here. If the volumes increase in these areas, I know I'm probably going to be able to come down to my target. In this case, the volume is drying up still, so it's still very dangerous to try to short it down. You may get it, you may wait, it may face through into health and then come here, and you're going to wish you didn't short when you're in health. So in this case, I'm going to say it's dangerous to short on the way down. All right, very dangerous to short. Be careful. All right. If you're seeing anything more than that, go to a smaller time frame and maybe only take those trades on that smaller time frame. Get out within your allotted map that you draw for yourself. But other than that, be real careful. Is short to profit? Too short to profit? Yeah. If you were trying to make money to hit that lower target, are we going to hit this lower target? Most likely, we're probably going to hit the lower area of 007 or even just. Hey, I didn't give you prices for this one. Huh. All right. Any other questions?
Yeah. Why do you think it's like hugging the term for that line, the sort of potential breakout line so closely? And when it wicked down before, why did it not choose? Also, a separate question: why do you think it chose not to come down to the stronger support?
The first part of your question: why is it hugging the line so tightly? The foundational line gives it away. A lot of times, the foundational line gives it away. What do we observe about this foundational line? The foundational part of the watch line. What do we observe about it? I'll try to take a picture and zoom in so you guys can see it clearly. What do you guys observe about it? Nobody? Make an observation about this.
It's mostly the wicks.
Yeah, mostly the wicks. That's exactly right. Look how many times the wicks are hitting these areas. They're very close, trying to play on the sides. So if that's the precedence and we start seeing it over and over, if you start seeing that, then that's a big giveaway about how the rest of the line is going to look. So later on in time, why are we hugging it? It tells you why. Sometimes the foundation is very clear shape, like it's around this way, so you start thinking parabolic. Sometimes it's bowed like that, so you think parabolic like that. Sometimes it's split and it starts oscillating outward, so you start thinking it's going to oscillate outward. Like it's always almost always it's a reflection of whatever the move is. You can see that all the time in almost every watch line. It gives it away. Like for example, if this is this area, right? And we say, okay, we're going down from here, right? And we're going down. All right, how's the down move going to look? We take our next watch line, especially if we can match it to the wick, and it's going to give us those verifications multiple times. If we got a wick sign, it's going to let us know. A lot of times the move that we're trading, if we short down that one, or we were to look for a short in there, which it didn't happen, but if we were to look for a trade, something in here, we're going to be looking at that two areas. It's going to give away. What was the second part of your question? I'm not sure I understood the second part.
The second part was when it wicked down to that low.
You mean to here, approximately?
Why do you think at that point it didn't just come down?
I don't know. And I think it's just a stop along the way. I don't know if there's another support here. Maybe the congestion that was back here in these areas. As far as my analysis goes, I didn't have it. But maybe it's this. If you duplicate this one, bring it down to the foundational area here. If I bring it up here, I'm getting some verification. Maybe that's the support. I'll show you. Make sense? So that's basically a bottom. Not the bottom. It may not be the bottom, but it's a bottom. So stop along the road. This doesn't stop it. This doesn't stop it, but it does slow down. It's like stopping volume, but not enough to actually change the game. I don't think so.
Yeah, if it broke out right now, would you, because it is rounding up and more at the top of the line, what would you expect it to be? A fake out? Or? I
would expect if we break out now without any high volume on the down bar into health, like that would show volume, then I would if that's what it showed in the volume, then I would be actually looking for it to do something like this. So let's just say I face through and I break out, I'm going to be looking to come back down. And then for a proper sitting proper or more proper breakout. Because I don't mind phasing through on lack of interest. That's generally going to be moving up, but I want to see some buying come back in, so that kind of signals it's the end. Usually you'll see an increase in the singular volume or type of, in other words, our micro volume. You'll see like individual bars on down moves start going up on higher volume after the fact or into a health, and that generally tells us buying is taking place, and that's going to be a stop to the down move. Even if the down move's on lack of interest, sometimes that happens. So that's something I would probably want to see here. I don't see it just yet. We just see still incentive for the downside. A little bit on the daily, on the smaller time frames that we just watched. So I don't want to be fooled just by going into health right now. I want to be at the next target, either here and do that, or here and do that. Then maybe I'll strike. But even then, I'm really more incentivized for the target. I think we're probably going to hit the target. But we'll see.
Excellent.
Yeah, because we got these long spikes right on top and bottom. So even if I bounce here and I round here and my analysis is correct, or your analysis is correct that we're going to bounce here, what are the odds that you spike that distance? The distance is about that far. If I take a look at that distance, it's easy for me to hit it. I've hit it before, quite easy. So even if I'm right and we round here, I'm still going to hit my target, most likely. Okay. All right, anyone else?
Yeah. Sure would like to buy some cheaper XCM.
Yeah. What is the price today? 0.1. We might be able to get it for 0.007. Yeah, you might be able to get it under a penny, about three short, and then it goes high. Man, could you imagine?
Yes, it's a powerful one.
Look, even if it just comes up to its next big target up here, it's 680%. Dang, it's huge.
Yeah. One has the potential to be epic.
Yeah, it was trading here. The high was 18 cents, and here you can get it under a penny. Holy moly!
Yeah, and that's just the potential beginning. I think
1,000% if it got back to its ultimate.
Yeah, there's a fair few people that have seen this one going. So I think in the dollars,
like prophetically and stuff.
Yeah, I believe so.
Wow,
yeah,
in the dollars, that's a wealth transfer coin.
Yeah, it is, and the fundamentals are there to suggest could happen as well. So it's definitely one that I like, and I do believe. I'm trying to remember whether this is the one I had a lead-in on 2 or 3 years ago. I can't. I'd have to check back, but yeah, it's one I like a lot.
Yeah, you've been talking about XCM for a bit.
Triple J, you last said dust settling at 10-20 cents areas. Watch for 12 cents a here. 12 cents. Wow. At the word small frame crossover. Paul M said it's a financial coin along the lines of banking and settlement seed money for shorter term, new all-time high. Currently not ISO. Interesting. 12 cents is up here at our old flat. So that's just above our target. And if you guys are looking to get this coin, if we can get it at 0.007, fantastic. If it goes up to those numbers, 11 or 12 cents, that's 1,500%. I hope you guys do well. InvestBot says, how do you stake XCN? XCN staking. Superfood, do you want to comment on that? Are you able to comment on that question? How do we stake? I know how to corn and mashed potatoes, but the steak, sometimes I burn it. You might be at work. Superfood, if you're at work, it's great, but...
Yeah, sorry, buddy. I am at work.
Okay.
I'm doing a self-exam, but it's all in the VIP. I try to post it here when I get a chance.
Okay. Thank you,
I
Superfood.
think it's like 30. It's only 30%, man. So not bad staking opportunity.
Okay.
I think I shared it a month ago. But yeah, when it became available. But yeah.
Wow. I wouldn't mind staking some at those prices if I can. All right. All right. Any other questions, comments regarding XCN, my friends? I'm here to serve you. Thank you for letting me serve you today. That's going to conclude today our look at ChartRoom. Now, on Wednesday, 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we'll look at Triple J's request XEN, and we'll look at a few markets and do some more tutorials. I hope these live sessions are helping you put to practice some of the things you're learning in lessons 1 through 16 or 17 from our lessons page. If you're new to our community, type in the word lessons in the recent search bar or the recent post, and it's going to pull up all of our lessons. If you still have struggles, just message me within the app, and Melody will help you navigate that, or I'll help you navigate that. I sure am grateful. Thank you for everybody who supports us in our WordRoom ministry with tithes and offering. Finally, I want you guys to look at this. These are going to be our screenshots from this week message, WordRoom message. If you didn't catch the message from WordRoom, I did a video, 2 videos. It's a little fuzzy right here, but the video is called Forcing and Clarity Part Number 1. It doesn't show here, but it's Forcing and Clarity Part Number 1. Melody put this many times. We have desires that we try to make happen, we end up forcing God. We do a deep study in the story of King Balak and Balaam, and we're talking as we're going through this message. Yesterday we preached part number 2. These messages are jam-packed with content, so I hope they really teach you a lot. I want you guys to take notes as you're going through this series. I want it to really bless you. Yesterday we talked about perverting the right way. It's in some ways it's very beneficial to people in wealth transfer communities, because we talk about the fine line, some of those more fringe areas that God allows us to go in, but the dangers and the worries, the dangers and the concerns about perverting the way and how it looks in a practical sense. So we go through the Word of God in this way. If you missed part number 1, I want you to watch part 1. It gives part number 2 a lot of context, but also part number 2 is very different in that we get into new topics as we go further into this series. This message I put a lot of heart into this series, and I really want you guys to listen to it. Okay, so we're going to be back next Sunday, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But look for these 2 videos: Forcing and Clarity Part 1 and Forcing and Clarity Part number 2. Okay, put it on your ear, watch it, let the waters of the Word of God wash you, and we jump all through the Scriptures. So I'm excited that you guys hear this message. And then also today we had our daily WordRoom readings, which is just a smaller mini message for every time we meet, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Father, I pray that you bless our community. Take care of them, Lord. Watch over their children. Be good to them. Be blessed. Be a blessing to them. And may you keep them. May you make your face shine upon them. May you look upon them with favor. Be abounding to them with grace. Be gracious unto them. Lift up your countenance towards them, Lord, and give them peace. Help them to achieve all the things that they are requesting of you by prayer. For the targets they want hit, Lord, let them hit their targets. Let them be not anxious for anything, but in everything by prayer and petition, letting their requests be made known to God. And the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard their hearts and on their minds. As we enter times and seasons prophetically of exposure, I pray that you would settle their minds. I pray that as they're confronted with ugly truths from now and into the future, as things go further, I pray that you would help the people to deal with the things they're encountering. May you walk them through, give them peace and strength, help them to breathe and understand and have peace and put their hope and trust in you. If we cannot figure it all out, I pray that we would still have peace, because as you told people like Daniel, seal up the vision, for it is for a time in the future. And the things that we try to make sense or fit into biblical timelines, I pray that you would give them peace about all those things as well, and just keeping our eyes on you. And if that's all they can do, let them keep their eyes on you. For the word says, he whose mind is stayed on the Lord is kept in perfect peace. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen. I love you guys. I'll be right back to answer any final questions that I may need